It's Morning Edition from NPR News. Good morning. I'm Steve Inskeep.
And I'm Renee Montagne.
So, you've been to dozens of countries covering stories from the war in Afghanistan to the election in South Africa. What does that all have to do with what you're doing now?
Well, you know, this evening, I've actually interviewed Michael Pollan because I'm an anchor. I'm a host of Morning Edition, which is NPR's national morning show. So I do, there is no subject that I would not tackle as a questioner. It doesn't make me an expert at all. So with Michael Pollan, that's exactly the perfect situation where I don't know more than he does. In fact, I know quite a bit less than he does. So, but what I'm doing now, I mean, I just came back from Afghanistan a couple of months ago. These are long-term assignments that I do more as a reporter, so I'm more of an expert myself. So.
When did you become aware of what's going on with this big food dilemma, and what have you been doing lately to help this and get involved more in it?
Well, I'm not an advocate. Michael Pollan was talking about being at the tension between being a journalist and an advocate, and he felt like he had moved into advocacy, but he thought, what did he say? He didn't have to do it, he had to do it fairly, you know. But with me, I was just interviewing him. So maybe under other circumstances, that is when I'm actually on the air doing my job, I might have had questions that were a little more hard-edged and tougher for my news audience. But tonight, this was sort of a presentation. So because I know how to ask questions and I really am familiar with his work, I'm not really involved in advocating it, but I know it just enough to know what kinds of questions to ask him.
But have you...
And they asked me to come, and I thought it would be great.
Have you really been helping this cause and sort of like using like sort of the cause Eat Your View, where you support local farmers markets and you sort of try and eat with the food that the farmers have grown locally?
Say this, I guess I don't think of myself as supporting it so much as there are farmers market. I'm drawn to healthy eating myself. It's a personal decision. It's a very compelling argument to be made for doing that, and I have the luxury of having access to farmers markets and a job that doesn't stop me from paying a little bit extra for the food. So, you know, I think it's one of the more compelling movements for anybody. You know, with your children, you want your children to have the best, and you want your children to have the healthiest, and I think everybody feels that way. And I've just read enough of this work, Michael's work and other people's work, to think they're on to something. And, you know, so, well, I'm not, would you say, part of it. I'm like the outside person who's learned something, as something that's useful to me, that I feel good about.
All right. Thank you for your time.
Michael Pollan is the author of In Defense of Food, an Eater's Manifesto. Thanks very much for joining us.
Thank you, Renee.
Good morning. I'm Renee Montagne. It's Morning Edition.